Get over it. Because all of this, it has to go. It has to. Time to burn it down. You're hung up on endings. And will this end? And will that end?
Welcome to Radical Listening, the Portland podcast where we talk to local artists about their work. I'm your host, Phil Johnson.
And I'm your co-host, Clifton Holtznagel. What a great episode.
I think so. Yeah, that was fantastic.
That was a great, I just really loved getting to sit down with those two people because I freaking loved that show so much. It was so nice to go see Refuge at Shaking the Tree.
Every time I talk to Sam, I'm always reminded of just how warm a spirit Sam is. And it came through in her work for sure, but just also just in this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, her intention with her whole piece was to make a gift for people. That's what it was at the beginning, and it really felt like that. Refuge was truly a gift. And the short flicks, too. I've seen a few of them and hoping to be able to find more online at some point. But those are really great internet content put out by Shaking the Tree over the last couple of months.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I just want to mention how great it was to meet Rebby. I was unfamiliar with their work before, and now that I've experienced, what Shaking the Tree is doing, I'm just really, really hopeful for that partnership at Shaking the Tree. So
yeah, it was really wonderful to meet them. I had seen them start to pop up mostly through this Shaking the Tree stuff and theater stuff around town. So yeah, really great to meet new artists, keeping the inspiration flowing, and nourishing the people. Without any further ado, this is our interview with Samantha van der Merwe and Rebby Yuer Foster. Welcome to Radical Listening. Today on the show, we have Samantha van der Merwe and Rebby Yuer Foster. Samantha is the artistic director at Shaking the Tree Theater, and Rebby is an artistic associate. They were both involved with Refuge, which is running January 30th through April 24th at Shaking the Tree Theater, and their short flick series, which is on shakingthetree.com. So yeah, over the winter, Shaking the Tree has been putting out some pretty cool content. We've got the online stuff with short flicks and also Refuge, which is a, well, Sam, how would you describe Refuge?
I think it's a kind of a sacred circle. It's a sacred circle where you can step in and be really contemplative about the moment we're in and our place in the larger universe.
Yeah.
That
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt.
We went and saw it a few days ago, and yeah, it was definitely a sacred circle.
And it was grounding as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And Rebby, I'm just curious about your involvement with Shaking the Tree. It seems you were involved with Refuge and with a lot of the short flicks. I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I joined the Shaking the Tree team in July, so it's been about 6 months. At first I was doing mostly literary stuff, but recently we've been producing pieces. We found a lot of scripts that we like and kind of conceptualized how we wanted to put them out in a way that is online and COVID friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool to see how Shaking the Tree took two approaches to COVID friendly performance experience, because we've been seeing a lot of online work, and I like the diversity of short flicks, how there's some stuff that's very clearly like film versus stuff that is, scripted and written like theater. And then also Refuge being an actual thing you can go see. So yeah, what was the thought process behind the creation of both of those series?
Well, I can talk about Refuge, and then Rebby, you can chat a little bit about short flicks, because that also happened pretty organically. Hey. Refuge, it was one of those things that just hit me we were, I think, a week into the lockdown. So that was we just canceled the Antipodes. Everyone was shocked and kind of in limbo. And I realized that, I had a theater to go to, which I felt really grateful for. And, because my husband was working from home in the basement, and then I had 2 kids living at home who were each kind of doing their own work in different rooms. And so I decided that I would go to the theater in the afternoon, like around 1 o'clock every day, and just start painting. My initial impulse was to make a gift for everyone, just like we're all going through this terrible, crazy thing. Like, let me just make a gift for people. I don't quite know what it will be. And then these wonderful ideas that kind of tease you and kind of, I don't know, just like keep talking to you. The idea for Refuge came, and it felt like it wanted to be something like Stonehenge or like a church, but where we really subverted the Catholicism, Our Lady, and turned them into Our Lady of. We've got Our Lady of the Primordial Fire and Our Lady of the Primal Waters, and just kind of come back to the beginning of how we used to kind of worship nature, and how it's been superseded, and how theater is such a sacred place for me anyway. So, and theater is basically, started out just as ritual. So when you take it down to its bones, what is theater? It's people coming into a space to experience something and hopefully have some kind of transformation, or just, contemplate something and leave feeling a different way than they came in.
I'm going to say it again for the people in the back.
So that was it. And, obviously it morphed a lot, because at first it was me, and I was like, okay, we can't spend any money because Shaking the Tree is basically fucked right now. Like, we don't even know how to pay our rent. So I thought I had flats, stacked up from the last show. I was like, I'll use the flats as canvases. I have paint. I don't have to buy a thing. And one day, if this ever kind of comes to fruition, I can pay a sound designer to make some kind of soundscape. So it started out as that, of just the paintings and a soundscape. But then, the uprising happened, and, George Floyd, and it became more about just me and what I wanted to say. And that's when I was like, okay, well, on so many levels, but it felt like it was such a good opportunity, if we were still going to do it, to have it be 11 collective voices.
Oh my
and
God.
not just me.
No, I mean, I thought it was so beautiful and so diverse. Like, the forms on the actual flats were beautiful, but then when you put the voices on top of that, or the experiences on top of that, it just took it to, it was transcending. And it was really cool to see the differences in, some things were really, intellectual, some things were really existential, some things were just slices of life, something, it just was all this different, almost like ways in, different access points to this kind of broader tone that you were setting. And I'm actually really curious, do you ever get to see people interacting with the piece, or do you just leave them to
No.
their own?
So the only person who can see is Natasha, who's up in the booth, who, is running. She has 3 cues. 3.
Are they the light cues?
It's a cue heavy show. Yeah. On, off, and the apple. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. So whoever's running the door on that night just goes into the office. So people are really just left alone. And I actually like that. At first, during our previews, I wanted to be in there and watch what the preview audiences were doing, who were really just the artists who participated in the piece. But even then, I was like, no, I don't even want to watch them. I want them to have their own experience, because it's such a personal experience, and you should have the place to yourself.
Yeah, I felt that. It felt like, because you were there when we came, and then you just disappeared. And then, and we were in there rolling around and just like taking it all in, laying on the floor and everything. And I was
That's so good to hear.
I was like, this is such a safe space right now. And I can't remember the last time that I had a theater experience that felt like that, where I felt completely safe, and that I could go on my own internal journey guided by you. It really was like a guided meditation. And so I just really was like blown away by that. And then I just wanted to comment on the form as well, which was so inspiring to see, because I've been really into this whole ephemeral art kind of idea and the mandala and all of these types of things. And so to see you painting on the flats, to me, especially as a techie, was just like, oh my God, this is exactly it. I was like, I want to do one of these. Just like the murals. And then, like, who knows? It's like every time I come back, it could be different. And like, and there's something really beautiful about the idea that, it really is a happening. Like you come, you have this experience, but then you could paint them black and then it would all go away.
Yeah.
And
I
was
know.
just so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you should do it because I've seen your paintings.
Oh, thank
So
you.
there you go. Now you have a project.
Oh, you know it.
Oh yeah, I curious about two things. One being the goddesses and feminine principles that you were pulling from. Were you divining those are archetypes, or are those archetypes that you found from other places? Combination of both?
That's a great question. I think it was this idea of me having a party and knowing who I wanted to invite. And then each day a new one would be like, you have to invite this person. And I think some of them were like, if I was kind of going with creation myths from all over the world. And, there's always kind of the same principles. You have breath, and you have then the kind of you have the waters, and then out of the waters births the kind of sky and the earth. And so they were kind of those basic ones, and just to their names would just kind of pop in and be like, yes, that's the one. And then I think I was going to have 7, and then as I started doing it, I started thinking about that artists who I would invite, the performers and the writers, and it became suddenly 11. And I think it was 10, and then I kind of designed the circle, and I was like, oh no, shit, it has to be 11 because we have to add an extra panel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of came pretty, but I did I have this beautiful book called the Book of Symbols. And I got a lot of research out of that book. I got a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that there were symbols attached with each of the paintings, and I saw some of them were related to the zodiac, but some weren't, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was the graphic designer's idea, to kind of put a symbol. So we looked through. I found symbols that were related to each of those elements, and some of them are symbols from alchemy, and oh my gosh, they're from all over, and some are from the zodiac. Yeah, some are just from ancient, scribbling on cave walls. I don't know.
That's amazing. So Rebby, what was it like to be a participant in this? Did you see the panel that you were going to work off of first, or did you how did that come together for you?
Yeah, so Sam gave me the list of goddesses, and I chose Our Lady of Lunar Reflection because my middle name means Moonchild in Chinese.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. So we started looking into Chang'e, who is the moon goddess in China. And I started formulating questions that I had surrounding the moon and nighttime and individuality and community and all of that. And I think I actually shot the video. I did a video piece. I think I shot the video piece before I saw the panel. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think I was editing it while we were talking about the panel. So we were like, okay, what images do we want? You put in the rabbit and had the mirror effect. But yeah, it all just kind of like came together. I think there are some symbols that we talked about on set that were also in the panel that Sam painted.
So how did
Yeah.
you decide to bring your mother into it?
Ooh, damn, I don't know. It just felt, I don't know. I wanted to create something that felt like very genuine to me. I think I've been an actor for so long and I've been like telling other characters stories for so long that I wanted to create something that felt like actually me. So basically everybody in the video, all my friends, I hired my friends to shoot it with me and everything. Yeah, it just felt right. Also with my mom who gave me the middle name Moonchild. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I was gonna say that what's been really cool, what was really cool about Refuge, and what I've been seeing with a lot of the online theater work lately, is that like you were saying, there's a lot of theater artists who have been acting and telling other people's stories, now telling their own stories in ways that they've wanted to but haven't had a venue for. And as much as COVID turned everything on its head and is a huge tragedy, it also opened up the possibilities for performance artists at home. And I mean, I can kind of segue into short flicks with this. It was you got to see people recording themselves from home in certain instances, and how it is that just that alone puts several more elements into the hands of the performer, technical elements like lighting and where the camera is and all that. So what was it about like theater? Was there anything about theater in particular that you were trying to convey through the pieces? Like any aspect of theater, because they were diverse in how they were presented, and some of them are more like films. But I was just curious about that, if there was any aspect you were paying attention to specifically.
Well, maybe what we should do
That's
is
fair.
explain our little literary committee. So what happened, out of the summer and the uprising was, I reached out to Black, Indigenous, POC people who had worked with Shaking the Tree and asked for feedback. And Rebby was one of the people who got back to me with really great suggestions. And Rebby and I have worked together quite a few times, so I know them well. And I don't know, we had a conversation, and then I was like, I want to hire you to come in. I think it was like 4 hours a week, right? I can't remember yeah. And we'll have, we'll meet. We meet every 2 weeks. And I think it came out of me realizing that I can't be the sole decision maker at Shaking the Tree anymore. So it's me, Rebby, Pancho. We all know Pancho.
Yes, Pancho.
Avery. And Natasha, who has worked for Shaking the Tree for a long time. So our goal is to always be 50% or more BIPOC. So then Rebby started bringing lots of, because your first job was just literary
everything, yeah.
And then I started bringing stuff, and Pancho suggested a few things. So we basically have a huge list of stuff to read, and we started kind of sifting through it, and then identifying that we had a bunch of short plays that probably weren't for producing live and couldn't be, and then turned them into this. Our first one, Rebby, it was they were stories. They weren't scripts. Yeah, why don't you talk about those?
Tales. So it was around Halloween time. Oh, it's all coming back to me. I haven't
I know, it's just a blur.
But it was around it was like early October or something. And we were talking about how we wanted to produce a few like short online pieces around Halloween, like spooky tales. But we were talking about how white Halloween is and how white all of the spooky tales that we know are. So we kind of wanted to like normalize supernatural and spooky tales from other cultures. So we hired different people to adapt different supernatural tales. So I adapted a Chinese/Japanese tale, and that was the first one that we put out. And then we did a couple others.
We did Mallory's piece.
We did Mallory's.
Shamaran.
Yeah.
And then there's 2. We were supposed to release 4, but there's 2. One of them still needs a bit of work, and then the other one we put on hold for the spring because it needs to be filmed outside.
Because the second lockdown happened.
Oh, that's what happened.
All of the dates. Yeah.
Okay, so
and
we
then
have more
we
to look
went to
forward
Zoom.
to. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's great. And so those are, you can still access all of those online, right? The ones that are up so far.
Unfortunately, the plays that we got the rights for, it was for 5 weeks. So they have kind of run their course.
Okay.
But the 2 films are still up there. And then our plan is to keep that page up and keep doing kind of short pieces digitally, because I think that will now never go away.
Yeah. It's so interesting to think about how theater really had to kind of like conform to the internet over the course of the summer.
Yeah.
And we all did. And it, there's so many ways in which we're doing the same things, but also even kind of like locally or regionally to the city, everybody's got a little bit of a spin.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that it's kind of exciting. Sam and I were having a talk the other day about how theater is going to look, or like how this can be like a turning point for theater to kind of like catch up, I guess. Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, I'll tell you, you two specifically are pioneers, because what I saw with Refuge was like I said this to you all when we were there, or like right after we left. I was like, this is all I've wanted from a theater experience for so long. It's just a sacred space with a theatricality element to it. But I feel like so much we have been really kind of like forcing our opinions on our audiences,
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see how delicately you took a step back from that and created, like I say, a space for us to kind of have our own self-discovery. And I feel like that is much more in line with like the true principles of theater. Of course, there's like an element of liveness. There was a narrative. There was all of these other theatrical elements, but it was really about, leading us towards ourselves. That was like the big draw. And this is, again, like, if you're listening to this, you should see this. This is really good work. And it's like the only exhibition you're going to see in Portland right now. So you might as well.
Sam, you said you wanted to make a gift to people, and it was like, my gift was like getting to go somewhere.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was
like,
so
just
happy
getting
to
to go
tell
to
people.
another place. And then it was so nice to be there too. Yeah, it was so yeah.
Yeah, if you like want to leave your house and you're, you don't want to go to the grocery store, go to Shaking the Tree.
Yeah.
That's actually what tickled me a lot this past weekend when I saw you. I was standing in for Bridget, who's our house manager, because it was her birthday this weekend and she was away. And that's what everyone said as they came in the door. They were like, it was just so nice to get in the car and go somewhere. And I was
Put
like,
on
wow.
shoes and like an outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bar is really low right now. Like, people should be putting on stuff because
Great. Sam, I've just always been curious how Shaking the Tree got started.
Oh, good question.
I mean, I know it's a big question, but also it doesn't have to be. I'm because I don't know the origin story.
Oh, okay. I'll try and make a summary of it. I moved to Portland in '99, and I had my second child was born here the next year after that. And I was, working in a preschool, and I loved working with young kids because they're like the ultimate artists.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hated about running a preschool classroom was the parents being like, but is my child ready for kindergarten? And, because this could affect like their entire school career. And all I wanted to do with them was make art and play in the dress up corner. So I decided to open up my own little studio for kids. And I taught art and drama. And they were really young. They were like my kids' age, just like early elementary school. And it really just morphed as I had more time, as my kids grew, and I had more time to kind of think about what I really wanted to do. I ended up renting space to do little shows for them. And, we'd do them for the parents. And then one day I was like, no, I really want to do, something for adults. And so, but I realized I had no experience directing and no one was going to hire me. So I decided to do a monthly event. It was called Story Soup. And I got a restaurant to donate a big pot of soup and a bakery to donate bread, and we fed people and just did super short pieces that I like practiced on. And I was like, oh, I'm a director now. Because I wanted like quantity, like I had to get a lot of stuff out, but it was a beautiful idea. And then, so it kind of was like studio first, theater second. And then, I just kind of started filling the form more and becoming more ambitious and directing some terrible plays that, I was really bad at, but who cares? You have to do that to practice. And then when we moved into the large warehouse, it kind of flipped. It became theater first and classes second, because it flipped with my desire to direct more than teach.
Can we just take a moment to acknowledge the importance of food and art, feeding people and art?
I know. I'm telling you. Rebby, come on.
Let's
talk about it.
Wait, what's your opinion? You're ready to go.
I'm so passionate about this. I don't know. So, I mean, we put up the fridge outside of.
Yes, I wanted to get. Yes, good.
Outside of Shaking the Tree, we put it up in August. No, I talked to you about it in August, and we put it up in October. One, because I wanted to put up a fridge somewhere, and I had just moved back to Portland, so I didn't really have any other connections. And two, because, I don't know. I do feel like a theater or an art space should be the place where people are welcome to gather for mutual aid.
Yeah. I will say that in a lot of, like, let's just say people of color, like cultures, food and art are very synonymous. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's something I noticed just kind of like being an American, food is kind of like distant from art. But like when I go home and like, either or am in like some kind of church or like some kind of like art space, there's always a spread of food, and it's just so interesting to me that there's this disconnect. But it's so important because I feel like the purpose of art is to like, it's like to feed your soul. And then like, of course, we want to make sure that people feel left, like feeling fully nourished, or feeling like they at least are being cared for.
Mm-hmm. And for people who don't know about the free fridges, which have been popping up around Portland, could you like explain the concept behind them? I mean, it's pretty simple, but
yeah. They're just fridges and pantries. There's a decent amount. I feel like there are probably like 15 or 20 around Portland. That might be totally wrong, but there's a decent amount of them around Portland. And they're accessible 24/7, and you can bring food there or you can take food from there.
Yeah.
Did you paint that one out front?
We did.
I thought that was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to paint more. We just got a new shelter, so I'm trying to paint more.
Great. Well, let's take our break.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and we'll do headlines.
Is your smart TV outsmarting you? Are you drowning in a sea of remotes? Are you sick of tangled wires? Would your TV look better on the wall? Are you still watching online theater shows on your laptop? Practice good home theater hygiene with Clifton Connect. As technology tries to make our lives easier, it often just seems like it's complicating things. Clifton will help you make sense of it all by optimizing and streamlining your home entertainment experience. As your favorite local artists are creating better and better online content, keep up with the quality and experience the art at its full potential. Clifton Connect offers installation and integration of new and existing devices, system upkeep, consultation, recommendation, and supply. Find us online at cliftonconnect.net or email us at clifton@cliftonconnect.net.
It's time for headlines.
Headlines.
This is everyone's favorite part of the show.
Favorite part of the show.
So we're gonna talk to you. We're gonna bring up some headlines, and we're just gonna get your take on them. So
Yes. So
Okay.
our first headline, found this one via Reddit on CNBC.com, and it's that the Johnson & Johnson CEO says people may need annual COVID vaccine shots for the next several years.
oh god,
Fuck.
What do you think about that?
do you think we'll need like the double doses? Because don't you have to get like 2 or 3 now, or 2?
Yeah.
Well, I heard that the Johnson & Johnson one might just be one.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm getting that one.
I know. I just got mine today, by the way. I got
Oh, congratulations.
my first vaccine
How
as
did
an
it go?
educator. It's fine. My arm's just a little bit sore.
Mhm.
I think I was literally having a panic attack in the line, waiting, breathing. Like, I don't know. I thought I was going to die or something.
Do you?
and
How do you do
then-
with needles?
Oh, I just look away. Yeah,
Okay.
I just look away.
Mhm.
But there was so many people getting vaccinated. I was like, just look at the amount of people here.
Oh, that's what was
And no
stressing
one
you
is
out.
dying. Yeah,
Yeah.
no one is collapsed. I don't know why. It was so
Yeah.
irrational. So yeah. I hate the idea that we would have to get them once a year. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying. I mean, I don't even know when like people our age are going to be able to get the vaccine.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you, I heard you said you got it because you're an educator, you said, Sam?
Yeah.
Interesting. I was teaching this year, and so I'm wondering if that
Clifton?
counts as
No, not
me.
you.
Oh.
No, Clifton, I'm telling you, it's actually really easy.
Okay.
I'm going to send you the link. There's an
Oh, thanks.
assistant, like little wizard thing at the bottom, and it asks you, what age group you work with.
Sure.
It kind of goes through everything, and then it just leads you into scheduling the appointment. And you should do it, because I think the more people who get it, the more
totally.
safe we all are.
That's a good
yeah.
point.
And if you're going to work with kids soon, you should do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was working for Buckman, and then it was just kind of got terminated after the summer, and then but they said they'd hire me back.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep saying that, maybe I can get a vaccine.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
you
yeah.
absolutely. They should have actually notified you about how to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, not surprised. But anyways.
Sounds like a public school to me.
Yeah. Funny.
Great.
Oh, well, not funny. Well, there you go.
Hmm.
All right, I have a headline here, and I will explain. So, Lil Uzi Vert got a $24 million. That's $24 million diamond implanted into his forehead.
Is this
I
not, is
heard
this
about
not
this.
cultural appropriation, though? Is it not?
Well,
Am
I
I
don't know because
Yeah.
it's also futurist.
I see what you're saying. It didn't. I think
What
I
I'm
was so
saying, yeah.
stricken at first with the fact that he implanted it in his skull that I like.
True. That's also a different thing. I don't know.
No,
why-
but no. I see that. It's
Yeah.
It's also a very ancient tradition, So I wonder. I mean, I don't know. It's like part of me is like, it's cool, like it's sick as fuck for sure, but also it's like a little bit late stage capitalism to me. It's like there's,
Oh, definitely.
So it's really hard. I don't know how to feel about it.
there's been a lot. There's been a lot like that.
Yeah.
And it seems like the thing that would happen in this current climate, just like the world's falling apart, where there's a siege in the capital and people are implanting $24 million just into their body, just casual.
Mm. Yeah. And then what does that say about him and his status, in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tweeted something like, I'm weeping for him because just to think about like that there is a certain amount of self-worth that you're getting from this, like that you're, that there's a certain amount of validation that you're seeking. And it's just like that you would go through something that's literally life-threatening.
Yeah.
and you know, and really puts a mark on you. You know, now you're a target.
Yeah,
Right,
because
yeah.
can I ask something about this? Because I heard it in passing from my son,
Yes.
and I just kind of laughed at it. But like, how is it? Like, can someone like steal
Thanos
it out of? Yeah, can they? Can they like hold him down and dig it out? And
I bet you
run
somebody's
away?
gonna try and find out.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm wondering because I know, you know, I've seen like the subcutaneous implants where people put like the silicone pieces under their skin to like kind of like
Mhm.
piercing. But I know also people will put like the diamonds in their teeth. But I think that that's like either adhesive or sometimes they'll actually drill in and put a little post in.
Mm.
That's what I just don't know. You're just like it a hole in the skull and then a little
Yeah.
screw hole to screw something into. You plop that right in there and.
Oh yes,
But
yes.
like,
Probably.
but we go there and we're talking about drilling into someone's skull.
Well, somebody joked
Immediately.
online that it's like all it's gonna take is him to like put a T-shirt on the wrong way one day.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yikes.
And bumping into things, like if he bumps into something with his head too hard,
Oh my God.
He won't. He's really short.
will it kill him?
Yeah, that's true.
He's like 5'5".
I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, you're taller
I'm
than
not
me.
tall.
You're taller than me. Okay. All right.
I also saw just in the same conversation that so after this, Grimes became like a fast friend, and Grimes is also kind of like in this alternative kind of world, and
Mhm.
they both were kind of going back and forth saying that they're going to get the Neuralink implants, which is basically like a computer chip that you can get implanted into your brain, so that you can it's being invented so that people who are like paraplegic can use their brains to start to move their limbs. That was the original intent. But these
Yeah.
people are, you know, millionaires, and they're probably going to use it to access their phone.
Mm.
Just up there in the
No,
old brain.
you know that's where we're going.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
It's gonna be
Mhm.
there.
I just, yeah.
Well,
There's
it's
no getting away from that.
and the technology exists, which is the craziest thing. Is they're planning on getting these implants, you know, within the next year, and it's just, you know, I wanted to bring up. I brought up Grimes, but I wanted to bring up Grimes to segue to Elon Musk because I'm curious. What is your opinion of Elon Musk?
Oh, he is such a douchebag. I'm sorry.
Did you like? Was there anything? Did you know anything about his family growing up or anything like that? Because you're both South
No.
African, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I think he moved to the States when he was really young. Like, I don't think, no, but he has a South African accent. So I don't know much about him. I just, his practices, like his business practices are just so shitty. You know, and he's a brilliant mind, but where is he taking us? Like what
To
is he
Mars.
creating for us that's better? Yeah. So
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I just don't know about him. Yeah.
You can't pin him just yet. I mean, what's interesting is that there are worse, you know, billionaires than him, which is just kind of like weird, and I don't know.
But
Yeah, I mean, also I feel like this.
yeah, but should billionaires exist is another question.
Yeah,
in and
exactly.
of itself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because maybe he was noble to begin with. I just think that wealth can skew you in such a way that you lose sight of what you were kind of here to do.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, kind of along the same lines, well, similar lines to Elon Musk, though, Amazon warehouse workers are about to begin a historic vote to unionize at a plant in Alabama. So,
Yay.
yeah, there's that. It's impossible not to think about Amazon a lot because it's so just everywhere, and they have a lot of bad business practices and have a CEO who made, billions on the pandemic. Also, I mean, it's occurred to me that if we're talking about workers seizing the means of production, Amazon has created an efficient delivery system of goods throughout the world. And if the workers and people all along the supply chain can have like access into that, including the producers of goods.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long way, but my hope is that maybe that could lead to something good. But in any case, unionizing people, I'm always a fan of. So curious about your thoughts on that.
Rebby?
What
do you think?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely actually do see where you're coming from. Like, if every individual had a voice within this company and we got rid of all of the terrible higher up people, but I also feel like that could be applied to literally any company or any industry, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I feel like, yes, workers should unionize at Amazon, but like beyond the good for the workers there, yeah, like what's the larger good? Like, is Amazon still continues to be Amazon?
Yeah.
And just resources start to get displaced a little differently.
Right. Not to mention that Amazon literally it kind of pushes smaller competitors out of the market.
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That could go south really fast.
I just don't, nothing. And it's the same kind of as the Elon Musk thing. It's like you can't rely on the benevolence or the good-heartedness of company owners to do the right thing. And it's such a no-brainer. Like Jeff Bezos could be like the most magnanimous employer. He could, working at Amazon could be a really fabulous, place. You could have healthcare and you could, be taken care of, and like all the things we want, not overworked, safe. They're so unsafe from COVID. So yeah,
and the bar's been set so low for them as well, where it's like, oh wow, you did something. Any little thing that they do while they still, if they all thought about it, could solve world hunger pretty quick.
Yeah. Not to mention he just
so
stepped
quickly.
away from Amazon. Yeah, exactly. Especially a company like Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, him personally, I mean, he could just give, most of his money away and still be incredibly wealthy and solve so many world problems.
Yeah.
Why he shouldn't be allowed? That's where we've got to cap. We got to cap wealth.
I heard what I hear. 999 million is the cutoff, and then they name a dog park after you and say you won capitalism.
Yeah.
And then you get to collect $200.
And then you pass go. You just get a card you can swipe anywhere forever.
All right. Well, let's do some plugs. So this is just the part of the show where you can plug anything you feel like our audience, which is so vast.
Massive international following.
Yeah, huge demographic base.
I believe it.
Just should know about.
Earlier, we mentioned the community fridges, and there are definitely fridges outside of Portland as well in other cities around the country, So yeah, I mean, like anybody can cook for them. Anybody can buy food and bring the food to them and care for their community.
Look up the local free fridges near you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they have a great Instagram where they update, there's all these updates on the fridges. Really easy to know what's needed where if you want to help.
That's awesome. I love that plug.
I want to plug the book Flight by Sherman Alexie. I just listened to that on the Multnomah County Library Libby app. I'm a big audiobook fan. I've been playing a lot of books lately that I've been listening to exclusively. Haven't looked at paper in a while, but Flight is really, really great. It's and Sherman Alexie is a wonderful Indigenous writer from the Seattle area, and Flight is it's I don't want to give too much away, but there's time travel, and I wasn't expecting that, so that was great.
Nice. I'd like to plug Soul, which is a movie on Disney Plus. Starring Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey, and I had a wonderful experience with that movie. I think, especially if you have children, I thought it was a great non-denominational way to approach experiencing life and kind of like metaphysical thinking, and I think it's a great way to introduce your kids to that type of thing, and also to introduce your young artists into getting in the zone. So I'd like to plug Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been wanting to watch that, but we don't want to get Disney Plus, so we're in a bind.
borrow somebody's.
Yeah, you have to borrow
You can
somebody.
find someone in your community to give you a login.
Yeah,
Wait, does Disney not have a free trial?
No.
they do, but we already used
Oh,
it
yeah.
to watch something else. I'm trying to think. I'm in a strange place because I just opened, this show, and so my brain's pretty empty right now, and we also have a puppy, which is taking up most of my time. So my plug is weird. It's just walking in nature, like walking outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget how good it is for my soul to just get out every single day and be in nature. We're so tapped in right now to our technology, and I think we can go for weeks and weeks without, especially if we're working on something. And every time I do it, I'm like, I have to do this every day. I commit to doing this every day, and then something takes over and you get busy. And so I plug committing to walking in nature every day.
Yes, I love that.
Oh, and I found that Instagram for the free fridges. It's at PDX Free Fridge on Instagram. So if you want to support, get involved, know what's going on with that, check that out.
Yes,
Oh,
please
yeah.
support your local free fridge. I can't
Right.
say thank you enough to the both of you for coming onto our show and having this wonderful conversation. So I would just say I respect you so much, Sam. Thank you so much. And Rebby, is really
Aw,
nice to
thank
meet
you.
you. And I hope to work with both of you in the near future.
Same.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise. Let's do it.
All right. Bye, y'all. Good to see you.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Radical Listening. If you have questions or would like to reach out, feel free to reach out to our email, which is radicallisteningpodcast@gmail.com, or visit the Coho Theater website for more information. And thanks for listening.